Welcome to the deep dive. Ever catch yourself totally mesmerized by a billboard that just works? Or the flip side, a speech that just completely tanks?
Yeah.
All right? It's fascinating. So today, we're diving into what it takes to be a communication scientist.
Ooh, interesting.
Right. We've got a ton of info from RoleCatcher, which, just a reminder, is a really cool career development platform. We're going to unpack all this intel about communication science.
It's a field that's more relevant now than ever. Because let's face it, we're constantly bombarded with messages and information these days.
Totally. It's like information overload out there.
Mm.
But this isn't just about texting your friend or whatever. What does a communication scientist actually do?
Well, think of it this way. A communication scientist isn't just listening to what's being said. They're dissecting the how and the why behind it,
Yeah.
Analyzing how we use words, our body language, even technology, to get our point across.
So they're kind of decoding the secret language of everything we do, from a sales pitch to going viral on TikTok.
Exactly. Imagine breaking down a political speech to understand how certain words sway public opinion, or figuring out why some health campaigns make a real impact while others just flop.
Now that's what I call impact.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher really emphasizes the positive influence you can have in this field. What other perks come with the job?
Well, for one, it's a field that's constantly changing and bursting with innovation. I mean, think about it. Communication scientists are at the forefront of how we connect with each other, especially as technology keeps evolving at warp speed.
We're talking VR, AI, the metaverse.
Yeah.
It's all on the table.
Oh, absolutely. And the best part is you're not stuck in one lane. You get to collaborate with all kinds of people from different fields. Psychologists, sociologists, even computer scientists. It's a real melting pot of perspectives.
It sounds like you'd never get bored. But let's get real for a second. RoleCatcher also mentions some downsides, right? What's the catch?
Right. Well, because it is such a dynamic field, job instability can be a factor, and you've got to be open to relocating for new opportunities, potentially.
That's something to keep in mind for sure. And what about the education side of things? RoleCatcher mentioned needing a master's degree, sometimes even a doctorate, right?
Yeah, that's pretty standard. A solid academic background is key. So we're talking communication studies, of course.
Yeah.
But psychology, sociology, even, surprisingly, computer science can be super relevant.
So it's not just about being a people person, which I feel like people assume. What other skills are essential for a communication scientist to thrive?
Well, yeah, obviously communication skills are a must. I mean, that goes without saying. But think beyond just chatting. We're talking top-notch writing skills. You'll be crafting research papers, reports, and those have to be good.
Especially in the age of information overload. Ain't nobody got time for dense, jargon-filled reports these days.
Exactly. You've also got to be a strong reader because you'll be devouring research articles like nobody's business. And then there's teaching, being able to share your findings in a way that people actually understand.
So you need to be able to break down those complex ideas for us regular folk.
Precisely. And let's not forget the importance of critical thinking and problem-solving skills. You're analyzing data, identifying trends, coming up with strategies to improve communication.
It's like being a detective of sorts, but instead of solving crimes, you're solving communication breakdowns.
Ooh, I like that analogy. You're on a quest to unravel the mysteries of human communication.
Love it. Okay, so we've covered the what and the why of communication science. Now, for the aspiring scientists out there, let's get practical. RoleCatcher maps out a pretty clear career ladder, right?
They do. They break it down into stages from those entry-level positions all the way up to becoming a leader in the field.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's climb that ladder together then, starting with those first few rungs. So picture this. Fresh out of school, you land that entry-level communication scientist gig. What's that look like day to day?
Okay, so you're probably at a cool tech company, right?
Naturally.
You're assisting those senior scientists with their research projects, diving into all those literature reviews.
And your hands dirty with the data.
Exactly. Data collection, analysis, the whole 9 yards. It's like you're building that foundation.
Makes sense. So what kind of experience are we talking about to even get your foot in the door at that level?
Well, RoleCatcher actually gives this example profile, and it might sound pretty familiar.
Oh, lay it on us.
Think back to college. You've got your bachelor's in communication science. Maybe you were a research assistant in the comms lab.
Ah, those are the days.
You're comfortable with spreadsheets, data analysis software, the essentials.
And let's not forget those all-nighters cramming for exams, which totally count as teamwork experience, right?
Right. Even at this early stage, being able to collaborate effectively is so key.
For sure. But we can't be entry level forever. What's the next step up that ladder?
Okay, so you've put in the work, you've learned the ropes. Now it's time to spread your wings a bit, you know?
Time to
Yeah.
fly. So from research assistant, we go to conducting our own research.
Bingo! We're moving on up to junior communication scientist. This is where you start flexing those independent research muscles, maybe even designing your own research methodologies.
Oh, getting fancy.
Right, and instead of just crunching numbers, you're presenting your findings to the team. You're becoming the expert.
Talk about a confidence boost. I bet those presentations back in college are coming in handy right about now.
Big time. And your credentials have leveled up too. That example profile RoleCatcher gives, it now includes a master's degree, a solid track record of research, and really strong data analysis skills.
Yeah.
You're not just an assistant anymore.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired.
Yeah.
But I know there are more rungs on this ladder. What does it look like when you hit, say, senior communication scientist level?
All right, so now we're talking leadership. At this stage, you're not just participating in research projects, you're leading them.
Yeah.
You're the one mentoring those junior scientists, guiding them along the same path you took.
So you're like the conductor of the communication orchestra, making sure everyone's in sync, playing their part.
Ooh, I like that. Very nice. And yeah, your expertise is shining through at this point. You're getting published in academic journals, you're presenting at conferences, you're a thought leader, basically.
Speaking of thought leaders, I did notice that RoleCatcher didn't really delve into the different branches you can take within communication science itself.
That's true, yeah.
It's a pretty big field, right?
It is. They focus more on the general skills and that career progression. But yeah, it's good to remember that this field is super diverse. You can specialize in all sorts of areas like interpersonal communication, organizational communication, digital media, health communication.
So you could go from like helping a couple communicate better to crafting a whole campaign for, I don't know, mental health awareness.
Exactly. And as you gain experience, you kind of naturally find your niche, you know, the area you're most passionate about.
Okay, that makes sense.
There.
So back to this career ladder.
Yeah.
Where do we go from leading research teams? What's the top of the mountain?
Okay, buckle up. It's time for the big leagues principal communication scientist. This is where you're not just leading projects, but you're setting the strategic direction for like all research within an organization. We're talking visionary leadership, building partnerships, even securing those big research grants.
So not just a scientist, but a strategist, a networker, a rainmaker for communication science.
You nailed it. And your reputation precedes you, right? You've got a distinguished career, a long list of publications, a network that spans universities, government, industry giants, you name it.
Wow, that's impressive. It seems like, yeah, it's a challenging path, but man, so rewarding. But let's be real, finding those opportunities, navigating the whole job market thing, can be a jungle out there. That's where RoleCatcher comes in to clear a path, right?
Exactly. They've got your back with some pretty cool tools and resources to help you land that dream job.
All right, let's talk tools. What's the first thing someone should check out on RoleCatcher?
Okay, remember staring at that blank page, trying to, like, condense your entire life story into a resume?
Don't remind me.
The worst. The struggle is real, but RoleCatcher gets it. They have this awesome feature, the CV Resume Builder. It basically takes the pain out of that whole process.
So instead of agonizing over every single word, this tool helps you create a resume that actually stands out to potential employers.
Exactly. It helps you tailor it to the specific job you're going for, highlighting all the right skills and experiences.
It's like having a personal resume writer, but without the, hefty price tag.
Right. Way more affordable.
What about the interview stage? Any tips for surviving that?
Oh, for sure. RoleCatcher knows how nerve-wracking interviews can be, so they've got this whole section dedicated to interview prep.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of prep are we talking here?
Imagine having access to a database of over 120,000 interview questions.
Wait, 120,000? That's a lot of questions.
It is, but it's a good thing. You can practice answering questions specifically designed for communication scientist roles. No more generic interview guides. You'll be prepped for anything.
It's like having a crystal ball, but for job interviews.
Right. And it gets even better. They offer AI-powered feedback on your answers.
Okay, now you're just showing off. AI feedback. How does that even work?
It's pretty cool, actually. You record yourself answering practice questions, and then their AI analyzes things like your clarity, conciseness, even your body language.
It's like having a personal interview coach, but without the judgmental stares.
Exactly. It helps you pinpoint those areas where you can improve, so you can walk into that interview feeling like $1,000,000.
This all sounds amazing, but is there a catch? Like one of those free trial and then we lock you into a subscription deals?
That's a great question. The good news is RoleCatcher is super generous with their free features. You can check out their career guides, skill guides, even access a good chunk of that interview question database. Totally free.
Okay, so you can definitely get some serious value without spending a dime. But what if you want to unlock the full potential, like that fancy AI feedback? What are the options there?
They do offer a premium subscription called RoleCatcher Copilot. It unlocks all the bells and whistles.
So we're talking AI, resume tailoring, unlimited interview practice, the whole shebang.
Yep, the whole shebang. It's like leveling up your job search game. And considering how competitive communication science can be, that investment could really pay off.
Totally. But it sounds like RoleCatcher isn't just for landing that first job. You can use it throughout your whole career, right?
Absolutely. Like imagine you're a few years in, maybe you're a senior communication scientist now, and you're thinking of specializing in something new.
Which, as we mentioned earlier, RoleCatcher doesn't really cover in detail yet. They've got some work to do there, keeping up with this ever-changing field.
True. But they do highlight some super interesting related career paths that might spark your interest.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, so let's say you're totally fascinated by, like, criminal minds and how they communicate. They have this whole guide on becoming a criminologist.
Now that sounds right up my alley. So you could go from analyzing everyday conversations to decoding the language of criminals.
Exactly. Or maybe you're more into the media landscape and how it impacts society. RoleCatcher's got a guide for aspiring media scientists, too.
So instead of just one-on-one interactions, you're analyzing how messages shape our perceptions on a grand scale.
Precisely. It's all connected, right? And for those who really want to go deep, like way back in time.
Time travel. I'm listening.
Kind of. They've got a guide on becoming an archaeologist.
Okay, now that one seems like a bit of a leap. How does digging up ancient artifacts connect to communication science? Help me out here.
Well, think about it. Archaeologists, they're like communication detectives from the past. They study the stuff left behind by ancient civilizations, pottery shards, tools, burial rituals.
Hold on, I think I'm starting to see the connection. Those artifacts, they're like messages, right? From the past. They tell stories about how people lived, how they communicated.
Exactly. And by studying those messages, archaeologists can piece together those ancient communication patterns, their social structures, even their beliefs. It's fascinating.
It's like decoding the whispers of history. Okay, that's actually really cool. I'm not going to lie.
Right. And RoleCatcher can be that first step on your journey into all these incredible interconnected fields.
This is what I love about the deep dive. We start with one topic, and it just opens up a world of possibilities.
It really shows how interconnected knowledge is. Every field kind of weaves into the other.
Okay, so we've covered the tools, the potential career paths.
Yeah.
But what about the actual job hunt itself? Can RoleCatcher help with that too?
Absolutely. They've got a dedicated job board where you can specifically search for communication science-related positions.
So no more endlessly scrolling through those job boards, hoping to get lucky.
Exactly. They curate those listings for people like you with that communication science background. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it.
That's incredibly helpful. But wait, there's more, right? What about those registered employers they mentioned?
Well, yeah, don't forget about those guys. Those are companies actively using the platform to scout out potential candidates.
So if you play your cards right, your profile could end up on the radar of employers who already dig what you're all about.
Exactly. It's like shining a spotlight on yourself.
I love how RoleCatcher takes such a proactive approach. They're not just throwing information at you. They're helping you take control of your career journey.
Empowerment, it's all about giving you the tools and resources to stand out, especially in this competitive landscape.
And in a world where AI is, becoming more and more prominent.
It's like essential to have a tool like RoleCatcher, right? One that understands those algorithms and helps you optimize everything.
It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, it's not just about the resume or the perfect interview answers.
It's about that passion, right? Yeah. That drive to understand how we connect as human beings.
100%. And it seems like a career as a communication scientist really checks all those boxes: passion, purpose, potential, you name it.
Couldn't agree more. But before we get too carried away,
we should probably address the elephant in the room, huh? The one holding a microphone, analyzing our every word.
Busted. Okay, let's talk AI. We've kind of been dancing around it this whole time, but we can't ignore the AI in the room any longer.
Right. It's everywhere we turn these days.
And it's not just about, using AI as a tool for communication. It's about how AI is like changing the whole communication game itself.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. We're already using AI to write emails, translate languages, even create art.
It's kind of freaking me out, not gonna
It
lie.
is wild, right? It's changing everything about how we communicate. And honestly, we're just getting started.
That's what's both exciting and a little unnerving,
Yeah.
right? Like what happens when AI can not only analyze how we communicate, but actually starts to understand it, I don't know, on a deeper level than we do.
That's the big question, isn't it? Like, what then?
Right. What does that even mean for us?
Well, imagine, right, AI that can craft these, like, perfectly persuasive messages, maybe even mediate conflicts, teach us how to communicate better with each other.
Whoa. Now we're talking like sci-fi movie territory.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, right? What role would human communication scientists even play in a world like that?
And that's what's so interesting. I think it actually becomes even more important, more vital for us human experts to, guide the development of AI,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to ethics.
Because, yeah, with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Exactly. We have to make sure AI is being used to help communication, not to, like, manipulate it. And that requires a deep understanding of not just technology, but also psychology, ethics, the potential consequences, all of it.
So it's almost like less about analyzing data and more about, I don't know, shaping the future of how we interact, not just with each other, but with these incredibly advanced AI systems.
Right. It's a huge responsibility, but also an amazing opportunity for a communication scientist to really be at the forefront of, like, this whole technological and social revolution.
It's like we're not just studying communication anymore, we're shaping its future.
Exactly. It's an exciting time to be in the field.
Totally. And for anyone listening who's now feeling inspired to jump into this world, remember RoleCatcher is out there, ready with all the tools and resources to get you started.
Seriously, they're like your personal cheer squad for navigating this whole career path.
It's like having a coach, a mentor, a cheerleader all rolled into one. Right?
Pretty much. So if you're ready to dive into the fascinating world of communication, head over to RoleCatcher, check it out, see what it's all about. Who knows, you might just be the one shaping the future of communication, with a little help from AI, of course. Until next time.